Story 1. I bought a 10-pack of ghost peppers once and decided to throw them all into a stew I was making because I already use a lot of habanero peppers and Thai peppers when I cook. How much worse can these be? It turns out ghost peppers are a lot more spicy than habanero peppers. Story 2. I'm sure I've had bites of peppers and sauces that were hotter. Hottest dish. I live near a small college town in the Midwestern United States. There is one Thai restaurant run by a Thai woman. We were semi-regulars and were talking to the owner one day about how hard it is to find any ethnic foods out here in the middle of nowhere. I said something like, "Oh, your food is so good. But it's a shame you have to make it so mild for this town. Not spicy like Thai food usually is." She nodded and took our order. I got my usual basil fried rice with beef. A few minutes later, a different waitress brought our food out. She said, "Letty made this special for you," as she laid our plates down. My wife and her friend laughed at my pride. The waitress stood there for a moment, and when I raised an eyebrow, she said, "I've never seen it come out that color. I want to see you take a bite." It was by far the hottest meal I've ever enjoyed. Delicious, perfect, and extremely, extremely hot. The end of the story is that we went back the next week. We didn't see Letty until she brought our food out. When she was setting my plate down, she said, "Oh, you," and her eyes narrowed as she started to pull the plate back. I quickly grabbed it back and said, No, it's good. We're good. I don't know if I can do that again." She gave a small nod of satisfaction and sent the waitress back out with the little 3-spice tray to be sure. Lesson learned. Don't question a Thai woman about the spiciness of her food. Story 3. A neighbor brought over some fresh habanero peppers she grew as a thank you for something. I was showing off and ate an entire one. Do not do that. That was a very bad idea. Story 4. I ate a Carolina Reaper 4 years ago. It was so hot that my urine burned for a few hours afterward. Yes, I got tested afterward to confirm that I do not have a sexually transmitted disease. Story 5. I had vindaloo in India made with but jolokia chili, the spiciest chili in India. It took me 2 hours and 5 pints of Kingfisher Ultra beer to finish it. Story 6. I sliced a Carolina Reaper and put it on a hamburger. That was a mistake. I ate the entire pepper. Came out later and guess what? Your digestive system does not break down capsicum, and it comes out as hot as it went in. Your anus is made of the same sensitive tissue as your lips. So, however hot it went in, that is how hot it will be going out. Story 7. At some point, spicy food is no longer enjoyable. It numbs your taste buds and ruins everything you eat afterward. A little bit of heat is great. Too much is just ego and pain. Story 8. Some ghost pepper wings that made me rethink every decision that led me to that plate. I saw God and he was crying too. Story 9. Buldak ramen, though admittedly, my spice tolerance has only started developing in recent years. I tried it once while intoxicated, and it was the best tasting thing in the world. A few days later, I tried it sober with a full packet of sauce both times and was crying and dripping nasal mucus. It burns so good. Story 10. My friend got the spiciest sauce you could buy, and it came with a tiny spoon. It was so hot that I had immediate stomach cramps and cried. I thought I would have to go to the hospital. Story 11. Whole Reaper 1-chip challenge, Satan's toe. That extremely spicy gummy bear with a Scoville rating of about 9 million. The Reaper was the worst because of the intense pepper effects it causes. The pain just doesn't stop. I did the 1-chip challenge a few times, and the worst experience was the last time I did it. I ate it on an empty stomach, and when I got home, the pain in my stomach became severe. I was in my bathroom panicking, running cold water over myself and just letting it wash over me. I was yelling and asking for help even though I was alone. I faced a choice. Either wait to see if the pain would stop soon or induce vomiting. I chose to induce vomiting, and that felt amazing. I could literally feel the muscle connecting my stomach to my small intestines reacting to the chip bit by bit. It was terrible. Story 12. I used to be in the Boy Scouts. There was an event called Scoutmasters Camporee, and something they do every year is a chili cook-off. There was one troop, and I do not know if they are still participating, who tried to make the spiciest chili every year. They made you sign a waiver before you could even get any. They were banned from future participation because one year they added ghost peppers and a bunch of other things to their chili. Story 13. I was in Thailand and told the chefs I liked my food spicy. I should have known something was wrong as they watched me eat. I think it was attempted murder. Story 14. I don't go out of my way for heat. Mostly, I find it obnoxious because things that are hot are often underseasoned in every other way. That being said, there is a brewery near where I live that serves warm pretzels and a killer hot mustard. That mustard is the hottest thing I have eaten. Story 15. I once tried a ghost pepper on a dare, thinking, how bad could it be? 20 seconds later, I was bargaining with higher powers, sweating like I had run a marathon in a volcano, and questioning every life choice I had ever made. Tasted like fire and regret. 0 out of 10 would not recommend, but I am kind of proud I survived. Story 16. The 5-alarm burger at a local pub grub place. One of those places that looks like a sports bar built inside a log cabin. I figured, how bad can a burger from a country-style place be? I could only eat half. I took the rest home. The next day, it hurt as much coming out as it did going in. On Sunday, I was looking in the fridge for something to eat for lunch. My eyes hit the takeout container, and my stomach lurched. I immediately took it to the outside trash. Story 17. Ghost pepper wings. I love spicy food, but those were extremely hot. I ate one and decided not to eat the rest. Took the other 3 men a while to finish, and they regretted it. Story 18. Not me personally, but when I took a rifle course with the Air Cadets, someone smuggled a ghost chili onto the base and ate it whole. We were teenagers at the time. He had to be rushed to a hospital. Story 19. I went through a spicy pepper phase. For me, Carolina Reaper peppers were hot, very mouth spicy, but for some reason, Trinidad Moruga scorpion peppers affected my entire body and activated my fear response. The spiciest thing I did was pop a whole habanero pepper in my mouth, thinking it would be easy since I regularly eat chunks of Carolina Reaper, Ghost, Trinidad Moruga scorpion, and 7-pot peppers. That was a mistake. It hit me so hard that I was reeling for 45 minutes before I could finally calm down. I will never again disrespect a whole pepper. Story 20. I tried a spice challenge with my Spanish friends. We ate blue tacos. I died after 8. They ate them like normal chips. I am never doing that again. Story 21. I grew some Carolina Reaper peppers last year, so I guess it would be those. They did have a bit of a kick to them. Story 22. The hottest sauce from Buffalo Wild Wings. We both loved their third hottest, but got a small cup of number 1 to take home. I took a taste of number 1 and instantly needed some soda as I tend to hiccup when eating spicy foods. I never tried number 1 again. Story 23. Hot sauce made from Trinidad scorpion peppers. We are Scandinavians who worked in Trinidad and Tobago, and our local coworkers used this sauce like it was ketchup. We had a tiny bit on our food and never made that mistake again. Story 24. Worked at a place that sold a variety of over 150 different hot sauces. I acquired quite a few to bring home for testing purposes. So probably scorpion pepper or ghost pepper sauce. Story 25. Mala Beauty Jjigae, also known as Korean army soup, is not traditionally made with mala seasoning, and I did not see it on the menu. Apparently, it is becoming a craze among younger Koreans. It is very hot. I have a high tolerance for spice but struggled with this dish. I asked the kitchen to dilute it a bit, which helped somewhat. Story 26. My stepdad paid me $20 to eat a habanero when I was 12. That might be tied with doing a shot of Blair's Sudden Death hot sauce at the hot sauce store in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Story 27. A Thai hot tom yum from a restaurant in Lubbock, Texas. After the owners returned from Thailand, they brought the authentic ingredients back with them. The soup was like trying to drink lava. Story 28. Nachos in Mexico were covered in extremely hot peppers. After clearing my digestive system, they exited just as hot as they entered, if you understand what I mean. Story 29. A tiny unknown pepper the size of a peanut grew on a small shrub outside a party. They charged $5 to get in but said if I ate one pepper, I could enter for free. I ate that little pepper and immediately began convulsively hiccuping to their great amusement. This condition lasted for the rest of the evening, and I was not even able to drink any beer. Story 30. Szechuan-style fish in fiery sauce was a kind of stew. The sauce was reddish and lava-like. It featured a ton of chilies, but the aroma was mostly lemony from Szechuan peppercorns. Often, the fish was placed in the sauce just before the dish was presented to me, and it cooked before my eyes. The heat of the dish sped up my metabolism. If I entered the restaurant feeling unwell, it gave me an enormous boost. I tended to feel much better for a full day after eating. Also, my mouth would tingle and fizz for a time due to the peppercorn's effect. Story 31. We bought one of the hot sauces we saw on the Hot Ones, the Fiery Fool. The site description, with a staggering 85% pepper mash. This sauce combines the fiery 7-pot Primo, Carolina Reaper, Trinidad Scorpion, and ghost peppers, exceeding 2.2 million Scoville heat units. I do not know if this is completely accurate, but it was indeed very hot and we use it very sparingly, like 1 to 2 drops at a time. Story 32. By mistake, I ate a tiny green pepper. I have no idea what kind. Luckily, there was milk in the refrigerator. It was awful. Story 33. Ghost peppers grew into a nice plant one summer, and I thoroughly enjoyed having fresh ones straight from the garden. Story 34. Got 2 boxes of wings delivered from a place called Orange Buffalo a couple of years ago. Normal heat levels, but we decided to add a random one in each box called a Viper. I didn't think much of it, but when I pulled it out of the box, it was very spicy. My stomach was upset for about 2 days afterward. It was absolute torture. Story 35. I love spicy foods. I usually ask for it to be made very hot. I went to a Thai restaurant in Seattle once and asked for Thai hot. It was very hot. I ate it all, but it was intense, and I had to drink a glass of milk afterward. Story 36. I've grown Carolina Reapers and ghost peppers over the years, and sometimes make a fresh salsa from them that definitely clears the sinuses and intestines a day later. They are also great chopped fine and frozen for use in soups and chili later. Drink lots of milk. Story 37. Having had one before, I once ordered a fall curry thinking that I could handle it. Not only could I not handle it, but from what I did eat, I felt extremely uncomfortable. Story 38. Bought some hot sauce once called the Second Dimension or something like that. It was hot enough that a toothpick dipped in the sauce could ruin a whole pot of chili. Story 39. Carolina Reaper powder. I put about 1 teaspoon of the powder in a pot of chili, and it was so hot I could barely eat any of it. The next hottest thing is Dave's Insanity sauce. It is not the hottest sauce by far, but it is probably the hottest you can find in a grocery store. A few drops of it will make anything you eat very hot. Story 40. A broccoli starter at a vegetarian rooftop restaurant in Udaipur, India. I have no idea what the red-orange sauce on top was, but it was extremely hot. I am no stranger to spicy food, and this blew me out of my seat. I could only manage to eat 1 floret. Story 41. Carolina Reapers are some of the hottest peppers available to the general public, but the chocolate butler pepper I ate was much worse. It is slightly lower on the Scoville scale, but this pepper was 2 to 3 times the size of any Reaper I have eaten. It was brutal. Story 42. Did the Death Nut Challenge while playing Ghost Runner, a fast-paced, very difficult speedrunning game. I often enjoy 100,000 plus Scoville sauces. Bravado sauces are the greatest of all time, but that challenge was so bad. Glad I did it, but never again. Story 43. I have 2 anecdotes regarding this. 1. My ex and I went to a Thai fusion place in Edinburgh, and I ordered a beef dish with rice, unsuspecting of the extreme spiciness that was about to unfold. I was sweating profusely until I finished, and for some reason, the macho mode kicked in, convincing me that I had to finish this dish because that was how it was supposed to taste. Flash forward a year later, same place, same dish. I didn't remember it was the same. It turned out to be perfectly palatable, even a bit mild for my taste. I believe they had made a mistake the year before. 2. On a first date with a gorgeous woman I had met a few days before, we started to feel hungry. I suggested a nice Mexican place that serves smaller dishes since it wasn't dinner time and I had a restaurant booked with friends afterward. I ordered the peppers in oil, not the hottest on the menu. Wanting to play it safe, I chose the milder option. Let's say I spent more time on the toilet praying for relief and clutching my thighs than with the lady. We had to buy milk after leaving the place because the food was inedible. Keep in mind I live in Europe, and both restaurants catered mostly to hip young students. They weren't very authentic. Lightning struck me twice, but I still enjoy very spicy food. Story 44. A single chili came with some Turkish food. It was a slightly pale green, standard-looking chili. Normally, they are pretty mild. I bit into that one, and Christ, if you told me it was a naga, I would believe you. Everything just burned. My lips were numb, and my eyes were on fire too. The mix of heat and shock really overwhelmed me. I just sat sweating and crying for about 5 minutes. Story 45. I went to an Indian restaurant called Maori in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Since I love spicy Indian food, I decided to ask for my food to be as spicy as they could make it. The waiter asked, "Are you sure?" 3 times and laughed. They brought out something that felt like eating flames. The kitchen crew stood by the kitchen door and watched as I gagged, coughed, and cried while eating it. I had about 3 mango lassis to help with the heat. My mouth hurt for hours. I will never have food that spicy again. Story 46. The hottest thing I have ever had was a hot sauce a coworker made and brought in one day. I had a small drop of it on a toothpick and felt like there was a hole in my tongue. The hottest thing I purchased myself was the chocolate challenge going around. That was the only spice challenge bad enough to make me throw up. Before that, I had tried every other spicy challenge product on the market. Story 47. My friend bought me a devil's toe lollipop. It was the absolute spiciest thing I had ever had. 1 lick was all it took to make me literally cry. Story 48. Once someone gave me a habanero pepper and just like that, someone reported who had just eaten the ghost pepper without asking. I did the same thing. I just took it and ate it. I know it was only a habanero, but I swear I felt like I was gonna die. Story 49. I went to a Thai restaurant with my ex-husband when we were in Iowa, traveling from Chicago years ago. He ordered some kind of curry, but I can't remember what I got. When the waiter asked about the spice level, I said 5 and he said 10. I told him he was crazy, and he said, "We're in Iowa, for God's sake." I said yes, that was true, but the staff were all from Thailand. He couldn't eat his, nor could I, so we mixed my 5 and his 10. He still couldn't eat it, but I could. Story 50. My local Walmart had pepper jack cheese on the discount rack. However, it was not pepper jack as labeled but was switched with ghost pepper cheese instead. I put 3 slices in a ham sandwich, took a big bite, and regretted it for about 6 hours with my mouth numb and sore. I have what dentists call a severed tongue. My taste buds have cracks that expose the skin underneath, making spicy food up to 3 times hotter than it should be. Story 51. A homemade hot sauce from a Syrian shawarma place. The man asked, "Are you absolutely sure you want the hot sauce? Most people can only handle the medium." He was right. I was a mess. Tears, sweating, runny nose. I have it once a month. Story 52. The Last Dab Experience hot sauce is made with Pepper X, the hottest recorded pepper on Earth. 1 drop on my tongue caused agony for at least 10 minutes. Story 53. That really spicy nut challenge was offered to me by a colleague at a Christmas party. It was bonkers. I had to drink lots of dairy, but it was worse for my other colleagues who tried it. They had to go throw up. Breathing was very hard. Still, I am proud I survived it without throwing up like the others. Story 54. Carolina Reaper, that hurt pretty bad, and I am a pretty big spice enthusiast. I would not say I lost it like the people online who tried one, but I will say it affected me quite a bit. Story 55. A raw Carolina Reaper pepper hole. I had to suck on ice cubes for a good 30 to 40 minutes. Then came the waves of stomach cramps. The cramps were 10 times worse than the burning mouth. If I ever do it again, I will be sure to coat my stomach with some milk or something first. Story 56. I was on a bus from Bangkok to Chiang Mai in Thailand when it broke down near a small village in the middle of the night. The only place open was the gas station, where they served a local brand of hot dog. On the table, there was a type of hot sauce so spicy it was stored in a Coca-Cola bottle cap. I tried a tiny drop on my hot dog. It was spicier than anything I have ever experienced, and I felt a burning sensation traveling down my digestive system until I expelled it the next day, crying. I have never tasted anything as spicy before or since. It tasted like a lightsaber covered in battery acid. Story 57. Chicken tikka masala from an Indian restaurant. I asked for it as spicy as possible. I had tears and mucus running down my face, but it was delicious. Story 58. A 5-pepper chili I made a few years ago. Carolina Reaper, Ghost, Habanero, Scorpion, and Cayenne. Each was 4 tablespoons of dry powder into 1.5 gallons of chili. Story 59. I don't remember. I went to a wok restaurant. Standing in line, I was a little overwhelmed by the options, so I just said, "Whatever my boyfriend chooses." He asked, "Are you sure? It is pretty spicy." I said I didn't mind spicy food, but what he chose was really spicy. I was sweating profusely. Story 60. I ordered a gojim monkfish casserole at a local Korean restaurant. I had monkfish before, but this was like eating a bowl of lava, and it felt that way from beginning to end. Story 61. Pad Thai with fresh Thai chilies and some ghost pepper extract. I like spicy food, but this one hurt my stomach a lot. Story 62. A dab of flatline hot sauce tastes unpleasant. It makes sense to add a drop to flavorful food rather than using it as an actual sauce. Story 63. I was preparing food. One of the dishes was a curry with 2 Trinidad scorpion peppers in it. Another was a salad with some sweet peppers that are tasty to eat raw. I cut the salad peppers first so that I wouldn't have to clean the cutting board later. I accidentally snacked on the wrong pepper. I bit off about half of a Trinidad scorpion pepper. I realized my mistake immediately, gagged, then decided to tough it out and swallow it. After all, I would be eating nearly an entire Trinidad scorpion pepper in the curry serving, right? The lip and mouth pain was intense but tolerable. What I did not expect was the rapid onset of stomach acid buildup. I had one of the worst cases of acid reflux I've experienced, 3rd worst in my life. It turns out raw hot peppers cause me 10 times the stomach indigestion compared to when they are cooked in food. Also, unlike some people, I don't seem to experience painful urination or bowel movements after eating hot peppers. I don't know why. Story 64. I ate a spicy Korean bowl in Los Angeles one time that neither my colleague nor I could finish. It was quite painful, but nothing like these men blacking out or needing medical assistance. Story 65. There used to be a Salvadoran taco place where the owner made habanero salsa for himself since nobody else would eat it. I would eat it with him and it was quite hot. Story 66. I went to a local Thai food restaurant. I saw on the menu that they had varying levels of spices. I asked the waitress to give me the hottest spice for my dish. She tried to convince me otherwise for a couple of minutes before giving in. To make a long story short, it took me about 3 hours to stop sweating and my gastrointestinal tract about 2 days to recover. Story 67. 1 raw Carolina Reaper whole. I experienced pain for the next 12 hours and discovered exactly where my kidneys were in my body due to the heat and pain. I peed capsaicin the next morning. When I went to pee, my eyes started to water and my nose stung. I realized it was from the pee vapor. I was peeing pepper spray. It was also the hottest my penis has ever felt from the inside. For the next day or so, my sweat smelled like pepper and made me sneeze. Story 68. That one Korean instant ramen bowl. I can't really handle spicy food in general, but that one I couldn't even finish. Story 69. I bought a special hot sauce on the internet called The End, which was like 1,000,000 on the Scoville heat scale. Maybe more. That was hot. Story 70. My adopted country is Sierra Leone. Please, I love you and you are amazing. But please, I am white. Have mercy. Story 71. A curry from Iceland in the United Kingdom had a giant chili in the middle. I could not feel my fingers or toes. Story 72. Tried a little bit of Butthole Destroyer, a hot sauce by Steve-O from Jackass. It contains scorpion, Carolina Reaper, and ghost pepper. Never again. Story 73. I had the most delicious lentil curry from a Sri Lankan cafe, and I was red as a tomato and sweating heavily. Story 74. I used to do stand-up comedy in Texas and Louisiana. In Lafayette, they had a Cajun chef at the event, and I had spaghetti. It was so hot it was painful, but so delicious I could not stop. Story 75. Chicken marinated in a large amount of ghost pepper sauce. The pain afterward lasted until the following day. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.